They dismissed Ripple as just another crypto startup. But now, the US government isn't just embracing Ripple. They're about to weaponize it. RLUSD, the Genius Act, tokenized debt, and XRP burning mechanisms? It's all happening behind the scenes. This isn't just adoption. It's a full-on digital transformation of monetary power, and XRP is at the heart of it. Before we dive deeper, smash that subscribe button if you want to stay 10 steps ahead of the institutions. Be Crypto Smart is where we decode what others miss. 2025 wasn't just another year of market volatility. It was the year the global financial facade came crumbling down. From cratering regional banks to runaway inflation and faltering Treasury confidence, the illusion of stability was shattered. But the most shocking twist? It wasn't a crypto analyst, a DeFi protocol founder, or even a whistleblower at the Fed who made the first bold declaration. It was Eric Trump. In a now-viral statement from April 2025, Eric Trump didn't mince words. If banks don't watch what's coming, they'll be extinct in 10 years. This wasn't political hyperbole. This was a generational warning from a family deeply embedded in the American power structure. He was speaking not just about commercial banks, but about the entire fiat-based, fee-laden, slow-moving legacy system that underpins the U.S. economy. And then came the real shocker. Donald Trump himself, standing at the podium, not only acknowledging the crypto revolution, but embracing it. The Genius Act, the first U.S. federal crypto framework backed by the White House, wasn't a half-hearted move to regulate tokens. It was a full-scale pivot. It didn't just legalize digital assets, it embedded them into the DNA of the next financial era. Smart contracts, tokenized dollars, decentralized rails, everything the old guard once mocked, was now enshrined in U.S. law. The message from the Trump administration was loud, clear, and irreversible. The old financial system, broken beyond repair. Fiat alone, no longer sufficient for global dominance. Crypto and stablecoins, the new tools of American monetary warfare. Why now? Why such a dramatic shift? Because the United States is on the verge of losing the very thing it's relied on for 80-plus years. The dollar's global supremacy. China isn't waiting. The digital yuan is already being exported through trade corridors and Belt and Road infrastructure deals. The BRICS alliance isn't bluffing. Their gold-backed digital currency plans are moving faster than IMF projections. Even the European Central Bank is floating programmable euro proposals. The US had no choice. It needed to move, and it needed a solution that was 100% compliant with US law, capable of operating on decentralized rails, dollar-backed and programmable, scalable for institutions, banks, and governments. This wasn't just a tech upgrade. It was a geopolitical necessity. Enter RLUSD. Ripple's new real liquidity USD stablecoin wasn't chosen randomly. It's not some random tether clone or algorithmic gamble. RLUSD was engineered with precision to bridge the old system with the new. Built on XRP Ledger rails, auditable, fast, and regulatory compliant from day one. And more importantly, it gave the US government something no other stablecoin could: control with flexibility. The ability to weaponize liquidity without relying on slow, swift systems. The ability to monitor flows while still enabling smart contract functionality. The ability to settle in seconds without touching legacy intermediaries. That's why Trump backed it. Not because he loves crypto culture, but because RLUSD is America's shot at survival in a post-dollar world. And the timing? Deliberate. The world is shifting fast. The banks know it. The regulators know it. And now, for the first time in history, the US government just put its full weight behind a blockchain-powered monetary weapon. And it starts with RLUSD riding on the back of the XRP Ledger. Most people looking at RLUSD still don't get it. They think this is just another stablecoin. Just another version of USDC or USDT with a Ripple logo slapped on top. But RLUSD is nothing like the rest of them. This isn't a tech demo. This isn't a DeFi experiment run out of a Cayman Islands shell company. RLUSD is the first state-aligned, federally recognized, regulatory-compliant stablecoin engineered not just for crypto payments, but for monetary dominance. Let's break it down. One-to-one backed by US dollars sitting in compliant custodial accounts. monthly audits to meet strict standards under the Genius Act, no funny business, compliant with the first U.S. crypto law, fully signed into power by the executive branch, built directly on the XRP Ledger, not Ethereum, not Solana, not some VC chain, but the network that was built for institutional-grade payments and settlement from day one. This isn't just a digital dollar. It is the U.S. government's digital dollar strategy. So why does this matter? Because we're not just watching a new stablecoin launch, we're witnessing the monetization of geopolitical influence via blockchain. RLUSD is how the U.S. intends to project the dollar's power into the digital world. A programmable dollar that can be sent instantly, settled in seconds, audited in real time, and enforced through smart contract rails tied to regulatory systems. You think SWIFT is efficient? RLUSD and the XRP Ledger make SWIFT look like dial-up internet. This isn't theory anymore. RLUSD is the financial rail the U.S. needs to fight back against what's happening globally. China's digital yuan is already integrated into its Belt and Road Initiative. BRICS is building a commodity-backed currency, threatening to dethrone the petrodollar. Nations are bypassing SWIFT, using crypto for cross-border payments. The U.S. needed a solution, fast. And it couldn't be another Fed-run program that takes 10 years to test. It had to be scalable, battle-tested, and live. Enter RLUSD, and more importantly, enter XRP. Because here's the catch. RLUSD alone isn't enough. It can represent the dollar, yes, but it can't route global liquidity across dozens of currencies, smart contract ecosystems, and compliance layers by itself. It needs infrastructure. That's where XRP comes in, not just as a bridge, but as a weaponized settlement layer. Ripple didn't just create a token. They created a compliance-first liquidity engine capable of moving value between any asset, instantly, with finality, and they've spent years building the rails governments can't ignore. XRP ODL, on-demand liquidity, powering real-time FX corridors. RippleNet plugged into over 50 central banks and institutions. Hooks plus AMM plus native stablecoin support baked directly into the XRPL. XRP isn't a coin anymore. It's infrastructure. RLUSD might be the face of the U.S. digital dollar strategy, but XRP is the bloodstream. And Ripple didn't build all this in secret. They've been positioning this system with government partnerships, regulatory clarity, and institutional rails for nearly a decade. RLUSD is not a Ripple side project. It's a sovereign financial weapon in the new Cold War for monetary control. And XRP is the engine that makes it move. The game just changed, and almost no one realizes it yet. XRP is the neutral settlement layer the world was waiting for. Let's get something straight. RLUSD might be the face of the U.S. digital dollar strategy, but XRP is the spine. You can think of it like this. If RLUSD is the cargo, the payload of digital dollars the U.S. wants to move across the globe, then XRP is the freight system, the rails, the engine, the settlement layer that actually moves value without friction. And here's where the magic happens. RLUSD is minted by Ripple, fully compliant under the Genius Act. It's issued directly onto the XRP Ledger, not Ethereum, not Solana, not Tron. Every time RLUSD moves, it's settled instantly on the XRPL, and every single transaction burns XRP, removing it from total supply forever. Let that sink in. XRP is the toll booth on this new financial highway. But that's not just bullish for XRP holders. It's monumental for global finance. Let's look at the numbers. In Q1 2025 alone, Ethereum processed over $3 trillion in stablecoin volume. Tron, yes, Tron, handled $1.9 trillion. Base, Coinbase L2, clocked in at $4 trillion. XRP, still ramping up, but it's now being primed to leapfrog all of them. Because here's what's different. RLUSD is the first stablecoin explicitly tied to U.S. strategic monetary objectives. Ethereum can't say that. Tron can't. Even USDT can't. But Ripple, through RLUSD, can. And when you add that up, something becomes crystal clear. The U.S. isn't looking to compete in the old stablecoin race. They're replacing the entire track. Imagine a future where RLUSD is used to tokenize U.S. Treasuries with real-time secondary trading. Central banks settle cross-border debt using RLUSD. Multinationals pay taxes or payroll across borders in RLUSD. The IMF starts using RLUSD for emergency liquidity swaps in emerging markets. All of it, every microtransaction, every trillion-dollar debt transfer, gets routed through XRP. That means massive, systemic demand for XRP liquidity. It also means massive XRP burn events over time, reducing supply, increasing scarcity. And this isn't theoretical anymore, because Ripple is already onboarding RLUSD-ready rails through institutional liquidity providers, MoneyGram corridors, SBI and Japanese remittance networks, and possibly, very soon, direct U.S. Treasury use cases. This is no longer a speculative bet. This is a strategic monetary re-architecture, and XRP is the middleware layer, the neutral, non-sovereign, instantly settling infrastructure that can move any value, anywhere, anytime. Unlike CBDCs, XRP isn't owned by any single government. Unlike Ethereum, it doesn't suffer from unpredictable gas fees and network congestion. Unlike Solana, it doesn't crash. XRP just works, fast, cheap, decentralized. And the kicker? RLUSD settles at the speed of finality, thanks to the XRP Ledger's consensus, which closes blocks in about 3 to 5 seconds with near-zero fees. This makes it perfect for FX trades, bond settlement, real-time wage payments, cross-chain stablecoin interoperability, and ultimately, a global liquidity network. So when people say XRP is just another altcoin, they're missing the entire game board. XRP isn't trying to be money. XRP is trying to be invisible, embedded deep inside the global infrastructure in the same way TCP, IP is baked into the internet. You don't see it. You don't think about it. But everything runs on it. And with RLUSD plugged directly into this system, and the US government now leaning on it, we're watching monetary protocol wars play out in real time. Except this time, XRP is the standard. This is the part that even most crypto veterans haven't grasped yet. Everyone's focused on price charts, short-term moves, and hype cycles. But what's actually playing out behind the curtain is a monetary regime shift, one that involves not just RLUSD, not just XRP, but a complete re-engineering of the global financial system using tokenized debt, tokenized gold, and a neutral bridge asset that ties it all together. Let's unpack it. Right now, RLUSD is backed by US dollar deposits, short-term treasuries, cash equivalents. This makes it compliant, stable, and pegged. Exactly what the US wants in a dollar-based stablecoin. But here's what almost no one is talking about. RLUSD is a Trojan horse for something far more ambitious. Tokenized US debt is just the first phase, a bridge between legacy finance and the new digital asset framework. What's coming next is seismic, the tokenization of gold, the repricing of global reserves, and the rebirth of trust in fiat by hybridizing it with real, immutable value. Because let's face it, inflation isn't going away. CPI is manipulated. Wages are stagnant. Debt is mathematically unpayable. Over $34 trillion and climbing, with hundreds of trillions more off the books. Trust in fiat is eroding. BRICS are dumping US bonds. Countries are stockpiling gold. So what's the US solution? Here's what the insiders are hinting at, and it's not theory. This is based on statements, pilot programs, BIS reports, and even subtle clues from central banks. Step 1. Reprice gold. Not based on market demand, but based on debt levels. Some speculate a new baseline of $5,000 per ounce or higher to collateralize the mountain of existing U.S. obligations. Step 2. Tokenize U.S. Treasuries and short-term debt instruments directly on the XRP Ledger. Ripple already has the tech, the regulatory rapport, and the partnerships to make it happen. Step 3. Create a new class of hybrid-backed digital instruments. Part gold, part dollar. Issued via RLUSD as the vehicle, and bridged by XRP as the neutral global layer. This is no longer just about stablecoins. This is the playbook for a global monetary reset. And XRP? XRP is the settlement rail, the only one fast, neutral, decentralized, and mature enough to handle asset tokenization at this scale. It isn't just a bridge between fiat and crypto. It's becoming the connective tissue between every asset class on Earth. Gold, bonds, currencies, real estate, commodities, CBDCs, and yes, debt. And who's sitting at the center of it all? Ripple, a US-based entity that's fully regulated, ISO 20022 native, actively working with over 20 central banks, running pilots with the BIS Innovation Hub, the IMF, and SWIFT's new instant settlement programs. Ripple isn't playing catch-up. Ripple helped write the rules of this new game, and it gets even wilder. Earlier this year, Donald Trump reposted a viral chart showing XRP, Solana, and ADA as part of a speculative U.S. strategic reserve. Most people laughed it off. But think about it. Why would a former U.S. president, one actively campaigning on fixing the economy, even acknowledge that kind of narrative? It wasn't a meme. It was a test balloon, a signal, a way to gauge how the public reacts to the idea of crypto-backed national reserves. Because if the U.S. is planning a soft default, a currency restructure, or a debt rollover backed by tokenized assets, then XRP's neutrality and compliance becomes a geopolitical asset, not just a crypto token. We're looking at a convergence of three massive forces: tokenized debt via RLUSD, tokenized gold as a trust anchor, XRP as the universal bridge. That's not just bullish. That's epoch-defining. Ripple isn't a startup. It's infrastructure. Let's stop pretending Ripple is just another blockchain company. That illusion died a long time ago, and the ones still clinging to it, they're about to get left behind. Here's the uncomfortable truth for XRP skeptics. Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, isn't pitching ideas to venture capital firms. He's not shilling coins on Twitter. He's not looking for investor seed rounds like your average crypto founder. He's flying to Europe to sit in closed-door meetings with the European Central Bank. He's been photographed sitting next to the CEO of SWIFT, the very network Ripple is quietly replacing. He's been spotted in Basel at BIS meetings, rubbing shoulders with policymakers who design the very plumbing of the global financial system. And yes, Ripple is in direct discussions with U.S. Treasury officials, regulators, and lawmakers. That's not hype. That's infrastructure-level diplomacy. Ripple isn't begging for relevance. It's being pulled into these rooms because what it has built is exactly what the world's financial elite needs. This isn't just about XRP anymore. It's about turnkey financial infrastructure the U.S. government and global institutions can deploy instantly. Ripple has already built liquidity hubs. These act as real-time FX and crypto conversion engines, providing deep liquidity for financial institutions on demand. You want to settle between yen, euros, RLUSD, and XRP in seconds? Ripple already has the tool. ODL corridors, on-demand liquidity. These corridors are live in over 70 countries. Not test nets, not white papers. Real corridors, moving real value across borders, from Brazil to the UAE. Hundreds of banking partnerships: Santander, Bank of America, SBI, PNC, Tranglo. The list keeps growing. This is global banking's quiet adoption engine. A fully compliant US stablecoin, RLUSD, and it's not running on Ethereum, where gas fees spike during market volatility. It's launching natively on the XRP Ledger, meaning ultra-fast, low-cost, final settlement baked in from day one. Tokenized treasuries and real-world asset support. RLUSD is already backed by cash, short-term treasuries, and equivalents. But Ripple's vision includes tokenizing the debt markets, letting banks, governments, and investors issue, trade, and settle sovereign debt on-chain, using XRP as the bridge. Ask yourself, what more does the US need? Ripple has the stablecoin. It has the liquidity rails. It has the central bank access. It has the compliance layer. And it has the one asset, XRP, designed to bridge all of it with neutral, trustless settlement at the base. This isn't a crypto project trying to disrupt the system. Ripple is the system now. The US isn't looking for a decentralized free-for-all. They're looking for a strategic partner with the tools, the regulatory clarity, and the network to roll out a digital dollar and connect it seamlessly to gold, tokenized treasuries, international debt markets, and yes, even BRICS assets. And Ripple is standing there, ready. We're watching the birth of a hybrid financial model, where blockchain isn't fighting TradFi. It's quietly replacing its core with programmable, efficient, and secure rails. SWIFT was built for the last century. XRP is built for the next. And the US government knows it. Let's be brutally honest, if you're still looking at XRP like it's a trade to flip for 2x gains, you're thinking small. This isn't about bull market cycles anymore. This is about control, dominance, and resetting the foundation of the global financial system. And XRP is right at the core. Think about what's happening. The US government is going digital, not just in payments, but in monetary architecture. RLUSD isn't just a stablecoin. It's the US government's digital dollar strategy in disguise. Tokenized US treasuries and gold are being positioned as the next-generation collateral. XRP Ledger is the rails. And XRP, the token? It's the value-agnostic bridge that ties the entire system together. Trustlessly, instantly, globally. This is the evolution from SWIFT to RippleNet. From fiat debt to tokenized collateral. From paper systems to programmable liquidity. And the difference this time? It's programmable. It's interoperable. And it's unstoppable. Ripple isn't begging for adoption. It's already sitting at the table with the IMF, coordinating with BIS, and engineering real-world integrations with banks, payment providers, and now even governments. XRP is no longer just an asset on a ledger. It is the ledger. It's the core trust layer in a post-fiat world. A world where compliance is coded, where finality is instant, and where financial warfare happens at the speed of light. What's coming isn't a flippening. It's a reset, a transition from legacy finance to programmable infrastructure. And Ripple is laying the plumbing. RLUSD becomes the public-facing dollar. XRP becomes the interbank weapon. Tokenized gold and debt become the store of value. And you, if you're holding XRP, are owning a piece of the pipes that every major institution may soon rely on. Ignore the noise. Ignore the memes. This isn't about hype. This is about geopolitical leverage, digital dominance, and the most important technological shift in finance since the internet. And if you're still thinking XRP is just a remittance coin or a lawsuit play, you've already missed the old playbook. But the new one is just beginning. If this video opened your eyes, smash that like button and subscribe to Be Crypto Smart right now. We're breaking down the real plays behind the headlines, and you better believe we'll be tracking every RLUSD update, XRP integration, and government crypto bill as it happens. Stay informed. Stay bold. Stay ahead of the curve.